up? My name is Jason and I'm from the Shelf Stories YouTube channel, and I'm here in the Dice Tower today to review Burgle Bros. 2, The Casino Capers. This one was designed by Tim Fowers and Jeff Krause and published by Fowers Games. It is the follow-up to the 2015 game Burgle Bros. Both of them are 2 to 4 player cooperative games about a heist. You are going to be playing your characters going into different areas, looking for the safe, avoiding the guards, and getting out with the loot. So y'all see my shelf. I am a massive cooperative gamer. It's my favorite type of game style. The original Burgle Bros. Is a 9 out of 10 game for me. It's an excellent game that I still play to this day. So I was excited to get Burgle Bros. 2. I would like to break down what the second game has to offer, the differences from the first, and see if either product or both products could be worth your time and money. So without further ado, let me go to the videotape and show you Burgle Bros. 2. All right, welcome to the overview for Burgle Bros. 2. And I feel like in order to give a thorough understanding of what you're getting with number 2, some comparisons have to be made with number 1. Here's number 1, here's number 2. Just from the outset, looks like you're going to get twice the game, right? Actually, now that I've opened the packages, as you might be able to tell, it's about the same amount of game in both packages. This is Burgle Bros. 1. I have everything bound up, all the stuff for it, the tiles and the rule book, and not loving how they had to kind of twist the rule book to get it into this tiny package. Here, there is a lot more room. You have the game trays insert, which carries all the relevant stuff. The rule book and the tiles, that's all nice and laid out. And ooh, look at that. We got some envelopes. I'll get to what's inside the envelopes in just a second. And we also have 2 play mats. The first one didn't come with play mats, did it? I'll show you the play mats laid out in just a second, but there you are right there. And here are the poles. Let's get that out of there right there. And you're going to see that in action right now. Look at what you get in Burgle Bros. 2. You could create a custom little tiered thing for Burgle Bros. 1, but in Burgle Bros. 2, they refashioned the box and include that experience from the outset. So if you're looking at it and going, well, that's pretty, is it functional? It's functional in the sense that, like, if you, let's say, using the escalator tile, and I'll go over the gameplay in a second, but just to kind of illustrate this point, the escalator tile is going to allow people to move from top to bottom. It's probably easier to track if they're one on top of the other, but if you find this very cumbersome to access the inside, you can always take the sticks off, move the box to the side, and just play with the board side by side. Many players do that, but as a feature of game night, if you just want to have a rollicking good time, to engage your imaginations and you don't mind the fiddliness, then the up and down board is definitely the way to go. Alright, so first let me show you these characters. So right now I have a 2-player game set up with the Rook and the Raven. So you might, if you are familiar with the first game, recognize those characters. That is completely intentional. So here is the Rook. There you go, nice and focused. From the first game, invading an office, so looking good with their suit. In the second game, it's a casino, so here's an Elvis impersonator. And that is pretty much the same color. I think they are... that obtains throughout all of the 9 characters. Here is the Raven from the first game and the Raven who is dressed up to the nines for the second. Characters, however, themselves work very, very differently in Burgle Bros. 2. So you'll notice that there is no printed power like there was in the first game. In the first game, it was an always-on power. You could just do it and you have access to it throughout the entire game. Here, the innovation is that all the powers, you see this word gear, come on these 3 cards, and every single character has 3 cards that are particular to them. During play, you will have to spend an action to prepare. So then right now this is kind of like stowed away, and then I can use an action to prepare. So let's say I wanted to use the Freebird. I would have that there, and then on any player's turn or my own turn at any time, I can use this. So it's kind of like, cock and load and fire. So kind of a 2-step process, but it gives you something to do outside your turn, which in the first game didn't really give you too much to do outside your turn. So that's cool. Also, they have taken out I think it was stealth in the first game, and now you have heat. So heat, instead of 3, you have 6. And as the dreaded bouncer, here's the bouncer over here, wanders around, you're going to be acquiring heat 2 at a time. And once you get 6 heat, any player gets 6 heat, the caper is over, and so is the game. All right, so let's focus a little bit closer to the board so I can demonstrate actual on-the-table gameplay. So in Burgle Brothers 1 and 2, the core action is basically the same. So you are going to spend most of your time when you're in the discovery phase either moving into the tile directly if you're kind of rushing through, or being careful and opening things and peeking. So let's say this wasn't there, it would be very easy. You either move and flip this tile or just kind of flip it over. You have that option. Burgle Brothers 2 adds this innovation, which is the casino denizens. These are all people, quote unquote, in the casino. So you don't know. You have case the joint, but the people are always different. So I don't know what happens when I encounter a piece. So let's say I'm the rook or the raven over here. I'm feeling pretty froggy. I'm just gonna run in here. The first thing I would do is I would reveal the denizen first. Oh, it is a drunk. Generally, if the token is yellow or red, it's bad. In this particular case, the drunk would just kind of like, hey, get out of here, and kind of move me along. So normally I'd flip this tile over and when I enter it, but the drunk kind of skittles me along. I would discard it, and then I would just open up the 2 tiles, the 2 articles here. Oh, a mole. I'll get to that in a second. That's very good. And then, hey, look at that. The safe, also very good. So then as I enter a tile, I automatically reveal what's there. In terms of actually progressing the game's win state, the mole is the main character that you're going to want to find. There's 4 of them. Amongst the tiles overall, you do discard 1, so you might just end up with 3. That'd be terrible. Hopefully you found all 4. You would spend 2 actions to activate the mole. You would discard it, and then you would acquire a die, and the die would actually go to this tile, which is the owner's office, which is on the 1st floor. So then you are going to want to, in your game, split time between the 1st and 2nd floor. The first player, as dice gather into the owner's office, they are going to be able to use this action. So while here, you may spend an action to move 1 die from here to the safe. That is how the safe acquires dice. Eventually, you are going to acquire more dice, and the person over here is going to spend action to roll. As you roll, you're going to roll, and then you're going to lose a die. So every time you roll, it goes back to the owner's office. So you're going to have to do that coordination, top to bottom. Someone in the owner's office kind of feeding you intel. It's like, oh, no, do this, go here. And the person over here is safe cracking. The safe depends on the tiles that are revealed. So as you can see, oh, sorry about that. Just opening up that monorail. There is a 1 on the bottom over here. You are going to want to use these numbers. So I'm going to want to roll 4, 1, 1. And let's say I was lucky. I rolled exactly that. Just putting that right there. I would cover that 4 and also cover the 1. I only need 1, 1 in order to cover 2 things. So 4, 1 would actually get me to cover this. Need these numbers as well. So you need these 6 numbers total. So as you go on, you're going to want to uncover all these 4 tiles before you start really rolling the safe. So chances are I won't be able to do that in a turn. So I've done with my 4 actions. And now it is time for the bouncer to go. The bouncer, the operation is pretty easy here. So as you can see, they are headed towards B3, which is over here. Don't mind these dots. These are only set up. That's how I was able to lay out these initial tokens. And then for the most part, you're just going to focus on that. So then the bouncer always moves 3. In Burgle Brothers, it would continuously discard and move and increase movement as you flew through the decks. Here, it always moves 3, so it's a little bit simpler to remember. Once they get to this top, once they get to the alarm, they are going to flip, and then you're going to place the new alarm right there, and then it's just going to keep on going until it runs out of cards. In the first game, you would reshuffle. In the second game, one time through the deck. And after that, the guard goes hunting. It just knows where you are after all that time, and then will just automatically just move towards you wherever you are. So gotta be a little bit quick to be able to outlast the deck, and the bouncer won't get you. Like in regular Burgle Brothers, there are different interesting tiles. One thing to know about this version, though, is that you do not pull an event card if you just dawdle somewhere. So in the last game, you had to always be moving around, or else you were going to pull event cards, random stuff. Here, the random things, because there's always random things in Burgle Brothers, come out of certain tiles. So if I go into the pool, I would draw a pool event, and the pool event tend to be pretty hilarious. Cannonball! Make a commotion on the current player's tile and on the tile in the same row and column on the other floor. So you can imagine there's a second floor pool. Someone goes, psh, huge commotion. That would be this tile over here, and that would draw the attention of the bouncer. Same thing for the lounge. The lounge is another tile that you would go into and draw a random event. So in this particular case, the lounge would be something like Chatterbox. The bouncer on this floor jumps to the destination. It's always drawing stupid attention. There's a couple of good events, but they're mostly bad, so you want to minimize going into these spaces. The last thing I'll talk about, which is a huge departure from the first Burgle Brothers, is once you crack this safe. In the first game, it would be a card, and it would, you have to carry it to the exits, usually on a third floor. Here, you have the heist finales. There are 9 of these things, and the game is organized such that you can play them one at a time in an ongoing campaign. I'll show you that in just a second. But just in case you just want to shuffle them up, there are a ton of these things. So then Heist 2, Heist 3, Heist 4, so tons of them. I'm not going to show you too many of them, but it changes the meta. You're going to be doing some kind of crazy thing, and it really does push the mechanisms a lot of ways. So in terms of the craziness, I'm not going to show you any spoilers, but there is some componentry that gives you some hints as to what's coming. So here is the car. So apparently in the safe there is, you can find a car, and hijinks will ensue from there. Here are some boots. I will let you imagine what could happen with those boots when you discover them. And then this guy, what casino adventure would be complete without a tiger? This is the heist log. 9 finales and 9 different categories. So you're going to want to run through all of them. You note the players and the characters, and then you know whether you've won or lost. Win question mark? I don't know. And then your suspicion level. So if you win, you are successful, and you would actually go up the suspicion level. So then you would actually start with less cards in each deck. You would reach the point where the bouncer hunts you a little bit faster as you get better at it. If you lose, you actually go down. You add distracted cards to the bouncer deck, and that means that you can kind of manipulate the bouncer a little bit more, makes it a little bit easier, and the deck a little bit fatter. One thing to note about the campaign, you do not have to play the same characters or with the same players. You could change it all. It's just really a structure to play 9 games of Burgle Brothers, one after another, and all of those awesome finales. So that was Burgle Brothers 2 at the table. And as you could see, although it does make a lot of changes over the original Burgle Brothers, on the periphery in terms of the characters, some other things, veterans of Burgle Brothers will know that it's kind of the same core experience. If you didn't like it before, Burgle Brothers 1, probably not going to be your bag for Burgle Brothers 2. For whatever reason, don't like cooperative games, or a little bit too repetitive in the actions, whatever it is. But if you like the first one, it carries forward everything that was good into this second iteration. So on a strategic end and on a thematic end, I personally feel Burgle Brothers, both of them are excellent. The strategic experience of Burgle Brothers 2 is that movement puzzle, right? And it comes in 2 varieties. First, you're going through, and you have to figure out on a, not even turn by turn, action by action, you have that decision of, do I just rush in and see what happens in the tile, or do I, be a little bit more careful and, peek? And so you're kind of balancing things. The game has a definite timer. Both games have timer, works a little bit differently in terms of the bouncer movement. So you have to kind of balance that, looking at all the tiles and what's revealed, what likely could be a there, where's the bouncer, where's the enemy, the piece. All that stuff is still there in Burgle Brothers 2, which makes a really cool core mechanical experience. And then once you've uncovered everything and now you're going directly for positioning yourself to try to get that safe, now it's like, okay, now I have to read the geometry of what's there. What does the board offer me? Where are the walls? Where can I, kind of scoot through and avoid the guard? How can I position myself to get that safe? And in Burgle Brothers 2, it's how do I, on the first floor you have that office tile. How can I coordinate actions so that they interact, that office tile and that safe tile? All really, really well done here. I really appreciate them carrying forward that core, excellent strategic experience. On the thematic end, this game is so rich in emergent storytelling. The way the tiles interact, you're going over the pool. Someone has a cannonball. Oh my God! So there's a commotion. Here comes the bouncer. And other tiles like the cashier builds up cubes so that you can't move easily through it. So you can imagine it's really evocative. People just kind of building up space and time, and you're trying to elbow your way through. Get let me through here, and that's just the individual tiles, the way they interact. Why is the pool in the middle of a hallway, and I have to run through the pool every single time something crazy happens? The emergent theme that happens and the tension of the bouncer moving and kind of skidding away from the bouncer, going to different places, disappearing into a crowd, all that's there. If you aren't a thematically inclined person, it's just a bunch of moving cubes and everything. I wouldn't say that the theme is like that evocative where, this simple engine will just like immerse anybody, but it's there if you are inclined like I am to for a lot of story. So the Burgle Brothers 2 definitely plays up that way, the same as in Burgle Brothers 1. So that's what this is similar about the two games a lot, but there are significant differences in terms of gameplay. And I still feel the need to talk about number one, because I feel like so many of the design decisions in 2 build directly upon the people's criticisms of number 1 over multiple plays. And I think of 4, and I'm sure there's more, but these are the ones that I'm thinking of. So number 1 played out more like a solo game, where we're just kind of splitting roles and people are having to cooperate, but really it's a very easy game to solo with multiple characters. So you had those 3 floors in the first game, and everybody on the same floor did not work out because the guard was there, just kind of ran all over the place, was going to nail somebody. So you had to spread out. It's like, all right, you go to floor 1, you go to floor 2, while we work on floor 3. If you're on floor 1 or 2, chances are not much to do. The safe is already cracked, tiles are uncovered, you're just kind of like wasting time. That's not great. Attached to that, there was this little annoying rule of you couldn't take less than 3 actions without playing an event. So it took 1 or 2 actions, just kind of waiting. You have to some random event would happen, and that mechanism was in there to kind of push the game forward. But then it says, okay, you keep going, push the game forward, but then everybody has to spread out. A little bit of a design confusion there. There was not a lot to do outside your turn. You did your turn, and then unless you were engaged with the discussion around the table, the collaboration, which is a perfectly valid way to play, there are some gamers who don't like that. They want to be engaged mechanically, have reasons to kind of like look at the puzzle as it's evolving outside their turn, be able to contribute. First game did not have that. And then the last area was in that 3rd floor and just the finale in general of Burgle Brothers 1. So you crack the safe. Chances are that guard is flying around at 6 spaces at a time, uncovering multiple of those cards. And you couldn't plan for it because it was uncovered multiple cards that were buried in the deck. And it just felt very random, and escaping felt more like a relief oftentimes than escape. Again, some people liked it, but you want to feel like an agent in this when you end a game like that, not like you're just you're praying to RNG gods and then waiting for an opening to go up the stairs. So all those things kind of came together to create issues for people who even love the game, like the game. I love the game, but I noticed these issues, and I was like, you know what? That'll be nice if another pass at this to address some of this stuff. Here we are, another pass, and all 4 of those things were addressed. So in Burgle Brothers 2, you still have to split up, and you can't. Not everyone can be on the same floor, but the game gives you a better thematic reason for doing so. It's not just to avoid the guard; it's actually to make get the office going, and then you send the dice up to the safe. So now there's active reason for players to be on different floors, feeding each other dice, like feeding each other intel. So it makes a little bit of thematic sense as well. As long as we mechanically interesting, excellent, well done. There's no longer that penalty for standing around. So, if standing in the same tile is the right thing to do, you just do it really quickly, move on to the next turn. That's fine. It still has random stuff. They put it not in the player action, but in the tiles, the pool and the lounge tiles. And if you get a bottleneck with a couple of those tiles there, you're going to be pulling a lot of events. And that could be frustrating. But then there are other games where they're just like off in the corners. You don't really see much of the events at all. So, a little bit more randomness, but I like that. I'd rather kind of have it that way than just, I have to like kind of dance back and forth in order to avoid events. That was kind of silly. There's a little bit better, the bottleneck issue is a thing. Hope maybe a third one will address that further. The characters now have things to do outside their turn. Wow, what an innovation where you prep an event, but then you could use that event anywhere at any time. You're always engaged. Even if you drift off a little bit, maybe someone is trying to solve their own puzzle for the turn. They'd be like, oh, wait a minute. You have a thing. Use that thing so I can do my thing. And that person says, okay, I don't want to use this, but I have this thing also. That cooperation, not just collaboration, talking, but like cooperation, working together mechanically is there because of the refashioned players. Really cool. And then the finale. The finale is why this game is good. Is why this game just really shines like a beacon. There's 9 of them. I've played through all 9. I just, I had it. I had the game. I was like, okay, next one. It's 9 games at Burgle Brothers, so like, saying that as campaigns a little bit, nothing really changes until the finales. But I like the game so much. So it's like, I want to experience all these finales, and they're all fun, and some of them are really stick with me. Some of them created amazing decision space where it's like, okay, I'm really stuck on this, but then I got to remember this. The game gave me that, so I'm going to use that, and boom. And then just thematically, I won't get into my adventure with the car, which I showed you in the overview, but I'm going to remember my game with the car. A long time. So is this game an unqualified better game than Burgle Brothers 1? Actually, I'm not going to say that. Burgle Brothers 1 has the advantage of being simpler. Yes, there are rough spots, but the rough spots don't, if you don't care about, cooperation or something like that. The first one is actually, I think, a better game for, a more casual gamer. Or a game, if you want to like, okay, let's say you have both of them and someone says, I want to borrow one, lend them number 1. Number 2, I think, is good because I played number 1 so much. Throwing somebody into number 2 might be a little bit of a graduated experience because there's more going on. The characters are more complex. The chips that turn into denizens of the casino, that's an extra thing to know. And just like a couple of little overhead things that are there to solve problems in the first game, but not everybody had those problems in the first game. I find the first game simpler, a little bit more streamlined, and if you're done with the first game, then by all means, second game is right there for you. So I think that they exist side by side. All right, so final thoughts time. We are going to go Seal of Excellence. You know what's coming. 9 out of 10. Man, Burgle Bros is amazing. And I'm giving it the same grade as I gave the previous game because I think they're doing 2 different things. I'm going to regard Burgle Brothers 1 as the one for, a little bit less simpler, streamlined experience to get people into the system. And then 2 was there for more. 2 was there, a little bit more mechanical crunch, a little bit more to remember, which might not be everybody's bag, but it does pay off in terms of the different cooperation experiences and those finales. I love the finales. They're amazing. So Burgle Brothers 2, both of them are going to be a huge permanent part of my collection. Well done on the design team. If you are looking for further Burgle Brothers 2 coverage, I have it. I'm a member of the One Stop Co-op Shop. That's where I do playthroughs. I have a lot of different playthroughs, including a full one for Burgle Brothers 2, the first scenario, and I'll be probably talking about that on the OSCS podcast feed as well, so please catch up with me there. So this is Jason reminding you, if you could change your mind, you could change the world. So until next time, later everybody.